Welcome back. Since the start of 2024, Jamaica has experienced nearly 300 earthquakes. The most recent, a powerful 6.1 magnitude quake, which struck at 1 o'clock this morning. Its epicenter was approximately 165 kilometers north of Ocho in St. Anne, with a focal depth of 10 kilometers. Reports indicate that the tremor was felt across multiple parishes. To help us understand the science behind these events and how prepared we are as a nation, we're joined by Dr. Kevin Tankoo, the head of the earthquake unit at the University of the West Indies. Dr. Tankoo, welcome.
Hi, good day, welcome.
How are you? How are you doing, sir?
We are okay over here, yes. We continue to monitor for aftershocks on our side at the unit.
Excellent. Dr. Tankoo, let's begin with would you be able to provide us with more details about the 6.1 magnitude earthquake that occurred sometime this morning?
Right, so we would have recorded an event around 1 a.m. this morning. Our initial magnitude has it as at around 6.1, magnitude 6.1. And following that, there have been, significant seismic activity or aftershocks, which is expected. That's normal after these large earthquakes.
Have you observed any specific patterns or trends in the recent earthquake activities?
Well, there's no real trend that you can infer from such seismicity. Where the earthquake actually located is on a pretty active area known as the Orient Fault Zone. This is just south of Cuba's coastline, the southern coastline. So most of the events, most of the shaking itself would have been felt on the southern coastline or the southwestern section of Cuba.
Okay. How are areas of high seismic risk identified and categorized in Jamaica?
So in terms of the seismicity, so we look at the number of events that you might have as well as some of the information on the geology, such as the faults and the interaction between the different faults. So in this case, this earthquake would have occurred out of our region, out of our local zone, into our near region tectonic zone. This places it in areas similar to like events that may occur in Haiti within our near region, where we experience significant seismicity throughout the year. So this is not something that is irregular. However, you've had several stronger events that may have occurred this year, particularly along that fault. So it is quite interesting to see the increase in activity that we would say on the Orient, or at least what we would deem as recorded seismicity along the Orient fracture zone. But there's no real inference that you can make in terms of, if it's going to lead to something bigger or if this is the end of that phase of seismicity itself.
Understood. You touched on Cuba earlier, but how does Jamaica's earthquake activity compare to other countries in the Caribbean region?
Well, we're located in one of the more active zones, which is why we have quite a significant record of these earthquakes here. So compared to the Eastern Caribbean, we tend to experience, greater seismicity, particularly in the smaller earthquakes. And our earthquakes, we feel, generally we may be looking at up to 20 earthquakes that can be reported as felt for the year. So this is a bit different from what might be in the Eastern Caribbean, for example, which most of their earthquakes, based on their tectonic zone itself, may occur at greater depths. So as a result of that, you tend to not feel as much of them in the Eastern Caribbean. So the Northern Caribbean, particularly in our zone, we tend to record significant activity compared to other areas. Understood.
Now, are there any ongoing research projects aimed at improving earthquake prediction and mitigation strategies?
Well, that's sort of a global push right now in terms of looking at exactly what sort of evidence there are with the existing data, particularly as it relates to faults that we can infer, probably potential disruptions in the future. So historically, it's been something that we look at in the context of return periods, similar to floods and similar to other natural hazards. These events tend to be cyclic. So you may have events that reoccur once in 500 years, events that reoccur in 50 years, and 1 in 100 years. So based on this, that's why for quite some time, for some decades now, it's been said that Jamaica is long overdue for an earthquake. And this is not just an inference based on the seismicity, but it's historical record where we have seen this type of activity in the past, and it's likely to repeat itself in the future. As to pinpoint a specific date and time, that's where we would say that the science is not there yet with that, but we are on our way to understanding better, particularly in Jamaica, our tectonic zones, the interaction of the different faults, and the mechanisms that drive some of this tectonic activity.
Okay, Dr. Tankoo, we'll close with this question. How can we as citizens assist in earthquake data collection and reporting?
Right. So with data collection itself, we urge citizens to report any damage. You can do this either through your disaster coordinator for the parish at the parish level, to them, or directly to us. We normally also circulate a felt earthquake form, and this form is very important in us understanding intensity as it go across, or at least perceived intensity across the island. This is definitely something that's helpful. So once you see that that's circulating, or you go to our website, the felt event form, please fill it out. It helps us in the long run in terms of how we actually understand intensity and variations in ground shaking across the island.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Tankoo, and I do hope that you stay safe.
Okay, thank you very much.
And all right, sir. That was Dr. Kevin Tankoo, the head of the earthquake unit at the University of the West Indies.